Siyat Shemaya, we're getting ready for the parashas from Hakamas and Mishkan, Truma Tetzava, and so on. In the parashas from Hakamas and Mishkan, we speak about the different colored fabrics that they use to make the Mishkan, Tcheles, V'Argaman, La'ashani. We would like to spend time a little bit on the topic of Argaman, which their minig ha'olam is to farish it as the word, what we call purple. Baruch Hashem, I wrote a kuntus on this topic. It's called Cover Argaman. Anyone that's interested in getting it, can send me an email, be'eretzhachayim@gmail.com. I'll send it to him. PDF. I come out in the kuntrus that Argaman is what we call orange. Orange doesn't mean exactly the color of orange. It could mean, let's say, gold or blonde, anything which is a mixture of red and yellow. That full range will go into the what we call Argaman. I just want to put out a couple of videos, try to make it short and to the point. I'm not trying to convince anyone that's not possible. There's no other mahalach. That's too big of a job to do. Not because I don't have the capabilities of proving it. I think there's enough to prove it. Lani is the idea, obviously. But we're so used to understanding Argaman as purple, so to change that common understanding is extremely hard. Because I'll say that when they Bezdin stopped the Yidden from writing the Shem Hashem in letters to, they made a yontif because it was a nes, considered a nes, that they were matzliach to stop the olam to do what they were doing. So, in these couple of small shurim, I'm not planning to convince that this is the only way. What I'm trying to do is to lay the groundwork to understand that there's definitely a mahalach chashuva, rishonim and achronim that clearly take this way, that Argaman is orange. Again, orange meaning to say, not what we talk about orange in the fridge, but everything included. Maybe the color of fire or things like that. We're going to try to prove that there is a very stark tzad to say this, Rishonim, Achronim, and it's built on the pashtus of Chazal, many different places, even in Tanakh, would seem to point in this direction. But because we're not coming to convince everyone that this is the only mahalach, we won't deal with, we'll say, problematic maramakimis. Some maramakimis we might have to explain. Some Rishonim, some Achronim, we might have to explain. See if we could explain. But that's not the purpose of this year. We're not trying to come to say that this is the only way. We're trying to come to lay the groundwork that this is a stark mahalach, which has to be taken seriously. Another point I would like to stress that there might be maramakimis which you might think you can't prove from there, that it's orange, but at least many of the maramakimis which you can't prove, let's say you can't prove that it's orange, but it's definitely clear that it's not what we are used to calling purple. So that itself is a starke nekuda. I'd like to get that message clear also. Like we said, one of the reasons why it's hard to adapt such a shit that Argaman is orange is because of what we're used to. But if we make it clear that Argaman is not purple, means to say there might be a tzad that's a certain type of shade of purple. I'm not going to get into that. but it's definitely not the regular bright light purple which we all used to in our class to understand. Every kid, every adult. When we're talking about purple, we're talking about clear, light, and bright purple. That's definitely not what is in Rishonim and Achronim and Chazal. There's no makar for that. At least let's say a kamat, no, not a single makar for that. So just undoing that is a very big te'elis to get clear that it's not what we used to. Once we get clear what's not what it's used to, we might be open to trying to clarify so what it is if it's not what we used to. That's number one. Number two is just at least it's better to not know than know the wrong thing. So even if we're not the American then not clear that what it is, but if it teaches us that what we know is wrong, then it's also is at least the davar chashuv. We'll try to make it clear, 2 or 3 shirim, not sure, and try to get short. Obviously, that's relative. So let's start. Now, the first thing is, where do we come to understand that Eרגman is purple? Where does that come from? It's not a new thing, actually. We find in Targum Shivim that Eרגman is the Targum of Eרגman is purpura, and many years ago we'll find the word purpura many times associated with Eרגman. Purpura, purple, sounds the same. So, is it purple or is it not purple? Why is it called orange? Why am I saying it is orange if it says purple? Okay, so this thing gets clear once we come out of our own daldamis, meaning to say that we associate the color purple, again the way we understand purple, with the word purple, is only from our point of view, meaning to say in our culture, in America or other certain places in the world. But it's not like that. In many places in the world, it's not like that. You start doing a little research, you'll see that doesn't exist. I heard from Chashuva people that they were brought up, Eרגman is red. Eרגman is red. And what was the name they used for this red color? Red was called purple. The same type, Eרגman is purple. But the word purple has a different meaning in their language. In Germany, France, when certain places, I'm not sure if all, when they use the word purple, it means red. And for the word, what we call purple, they call violet. By us, we have 2 different words, purple and violet. By them, purple means red, and violet means what we call purple. I have this picture over here. You see, this is what we call the red light, the crimson color. It says under over here, the coat of arms of the Sablin quarter of the French city of Metz. The French and Germans called this background color purpura or purple, while the Americans and British call it crimson. So here we go. Regular red color. And by them, this is called purple. When they say Eרגman next week, Pashas Truma, they'll be saying purple and referencing to this color. So, there we go. So, it's purple. Yeah, it's true, it's purple, but purple is associated with different colors. That's number one. I spoke to someone, his name was Yitzchak Yaakov Haberfeld. He, a very old man. He lived in Preshburg before the war. I asked him how they teach the word purple, so he said they teach it purpurite, purple red. Not just the name purple, purple red. When the Tves Yisrael says it, the meaning was Purpurite, Sham Shafal Hirsch, the Tolas Yitzhak and the Yeshami, they say it means purple red. So, again, it's a different touch than we're touching it. We touch it purple, they touch purple red. So they obviously what purple red means exactly. I think it meant to say like crimson. I'm not sure. A dark. I think it was dark purple, a dark red, but definitely is not like we seem to understand usually. Now, actually, the word purple we find associated with different colors in a few different places. Okay, so for red, many Rishonim say that Eרגman is red, as a type of red, but we can be down in that. But it's clear, at least from what we just saw, that the word purple is associated with red in other places in the world. Purple, well, again, we associate purple with purple. The Makar Chaim and Chaim Simiyot Ches also associates purple with, seems to be calling purple the way we understand purple. Yeah. So that's red and purple. Blue. The Ravya says that it brings on Yishalmi, ben tchelas lakarti, ben purpurin leprefinen. So he associates the word tchelas, blue, with the word purple, purpurin. And the Medrash Gadol says, shekin darken shamalachim purpira shalhem tchelas. There, again, tchelas is blue, as we name on. A lot of rights for that. And Chazal associate the purpira with the Beged Malchus, which was always blue. So we see the word purpira, purple, is associated with the word blue. So we have red, purple, and blue. And orange, actually, I found an amazing marmokim for this. So I'll read you from Buchart. I think he's some writer from a few hundred years ago. He collected a lot of writings and poets from like 2,000 years ago, if I'm correct. And over there, I went through what he brings down. We see a lot of association between purple and the color of the sun when it sunrise and sunset. Now, on a normal day, when you go to the sunset and sunrise, most of the time it's a strong, fiery orange color. So let's see what he writes. Which is why the poets call whatever is purple, such as the sun and dawn. Between, then he brings someone else writes, between the purple suns and white stars of the moon, calls the purple suns. The sun is purple. The golden light reddening with purplish purple would rise. Talking about the sun, how it gets redder and purplish. Sunrise. He brings from other places. Which color is usual for clouds struck by the blow of the opposing sun of the purple dawn, or of the purple dawn, as the sky is wont to become purple when dawn first appears. By dawn, the sky becomes purple. Again, that's from the sun reflecting on the sky, orange. The sun would wish to remove the yoke from his purple steeds. Again, talking about the rays of the sun, as far as I understand it, which is orange. There's actually Makarios and Chazal that the sunset and sunrise is orange. Maybe we'll get to that later. Okay, so here we have a whole bunch of poets from a couple of thousand years ago that are associating the sunset and sunrise and the sunshine with the word purple. And this was the normal thing, self-understood. doesn't have any explanation. Only way to understand it is if the word purple was used for orange. Now, actually, we find this. I haven't. I don't know the sources, but this is an article called "The Millennia of Murex." Some professor, he writes in the paragraph which starts "Our ancestors." He says like this: as a color, however, purple encompassed all the shades that could be obtained from the Murex family of shellfish, from ultramarine to pink. Okay, so purple encompassed all the shades that could be obtained from the Murex family of shellfish, from the ultramarine to pink. So he seems to be associating even more colors with the word purple, is even pink and things like that, all have from ultramarine to pink, everything is called purple. Now, he goes on, and this was going to explain to us what we do have to understand is why is it so that so many different colors are called with the word purple. So he says that it all comes from the Murex family, which color resulted depended on what species pigment went into the dye pot, what it was or what was or wasn't mixed with, for how long and how many times the yarn or clothes was dyed, and even the season in which the shellfish had been harvested. Faced with such a rainbow, purple was not so much a color as a notion, a status. Meaning to say, what he's saying here is that the reason why they're all called purple is it's coming from the purpura, the Murex family, which was called purpura, and it was mainly a status from where it came from, and not a name to identify a certain color. It means that all these colors came from a certain family of dyers, the Murex family, which was the main and only sea creature that died in the earlier times. And it had two names, the Murex and purpura, and anything that came from there was called purple. Now, I guess over the generations, the dyeing industry got more developed, and they had more things to dye, purple and blue and red and pink. So they weren't using so much the Murex, the purpura. So each country, each region associated a different color with the word purple. And that's where we come to what we have here today in America, being purple associated with the color purple. But actually, as we see now, there are many, many colors. When we say purple, it just depends on where you come to understand what it means. So this would just lay the basis for understanding that it is impossible to give the understanding that we have in the word Eרגman any value, because it is just one of the many options which we could use for the meaning of Eרגman, the word purple. Okay, I just want to end off this share with a couple of stories. I was speaking to a Rav, Dayan, who lived originally in, I think, France, somewhere in France, and he told me he grew up with the Eרגman meaning purple, with the word purple, but he said he associated the purple with the red light when you go down the street. He said when he came to America, he was laughing all the time, because when people used to say the red light is red, he said, "What do you mean? That's not red. That's purple." And that was actually very humorous to him until he got used to it. I was speaking to Chashav Manal of a Talmud Torah, so it's Bucky and Shas. He was brought up in Belgium, and over there, again, everyone knows Eרגman is purple, but no one has any idea what purple means. It's not a word used in the dictionary. When he came to America, he said, I finally understood what Eרגman is. Eרגman is purple. So I said, yeah, you're lucky you didn't go to France, because you would have found out that it means something else. another story. I had my sefer was in Mismej Gavaya, and here in Lakewood, and a chashuv yid from Europe was here. I think Ben Zmanim, older person, chashuv yid. He went through my sefer. He called me up. He has a lot of anah. He says, one time I have that you say in Europe they call purple as red. That's not true. I'm from there, and I never heard about that. So I said, listen, I can't argue with you, but I have different sources that clearly say not like that. So I don't know how to help you. A while later, he contacted me. I'm not sure. I forgot through his phone, a letter, maybe both. And he says he wanted to tell me that I was right. He did his further information when he came back to Europe, and there are places out there that Eרגman, that purple is associated with the color red. So that's very, very, very important to know this idea that from the word purple, there's nothing to learn. It has absolutely no value, no meaning. It shouldn't be any source of explanation to what the Torah means. I end up with the last story. I was one day eating breakfast in yeshiva, Spanish Gavaya, here in Lakewood, and a man comes over to me and he says, it says in the parasha by Yosef, Parah had the Cholon, V'yachlam shenis v'hinei sheva shabalim oilens b'kona echad shabalim. Sheva shabalim dakis shtufos. He says, what is shabalim? I said, I don't know. I have no clue what shabalim. So he tells me, you know what it is? It's corn. I'm like, corn? That's extremely odd because corn is relatively new. Comes from America, as far as I remember. So I said, how do you know? Who told you this? He said, he heard from the Mashgiach, Shabrafu Shleim, Matasil Salman. And that was extremely, extremely weird to me. I couldn't figure that out. I said, maybe he had some chazal? I don't know, but corn is a relatively new thing. Until one day, I'm sitting there in yeshiva, I'm reading the Siddur, I'm eating over the cereal, and I read the back of the cereal box that in Europe, grain is called corn. The word for grain, all different types of grain, wheat, barley, wheat, and whatever, everything else, felt, and all the different grain is called, in Europe they call it corn. And I said, oh, here we go. The Mashgiach, Shavrafu Shalem, he comes from Europe. In Europe, they call grain corn. So when he gave a shiur here in Lakewood, New Jersey, he said shibolim corn, but he didn't mean what we call corn. He meant to say what in his language, English in Europe, is called grain. Just we, not knowingly that what's going on in Europe, took his words for granted that corn means corn. I actually afterwards spoke to other people about this. I was telling them the story. Someone tells me, what do you mean? The gancha in Kriya Shema, Safta de Ganacha, means corn. And I realized this, I was an older person, that all these years he's teaching the gancha corn when it means grain, because in Yiddish, the gancha is korn. Korn from Yiddish, from Europe, that means grain. But again, so this person was understanding all his life that the gancha is corn, when it really means grain. This is just to illustrate the importance of the value of what certain words have, words we use every day, that you could not understand exactly what it means, even knowingly what the word is. So like grain and purple, and there's many other words like that, that words mean different things in different places. I'll just end off with what I heard from the Mechaber Sefer Meleches HaMishkan, the Kelev of Dov Myers, that Eרגman Chanukah Yesler Zatzal told him to teach his Melamed Tanaikus. He told him to teach that Eרגman is red, like it says in the Rambam, meaning to say, he wasn't clear exactly which red, because the Lashoni is red, but just don't teach that it's purple, because purple is not, there's no source in the Torah. There's no substantial source for this way we understand Eרגman. So he said, it's like Rambam says it's red. What exactly is red? Maybe we don't know. But that's at least that's what Chaim Kanievsky told him to teach.